Today, we'll be having a look at the Asics Superblast here in our lab, where we'll be cutting the shoe in half and testing it on over 30 metrics to see exactly what it's made of. Let's get into it. The Asics Superblast isn't just another maximalist running shoe. It's a game changer. Fusing the FF Turbo foam with a massive stack height, lightweight design, and unbeatable stability, it's like running in the Nova Blast 3 on steroids. Whether you're aiming for easy runs, speed training, or even races, this super trainer rises to the occasion. This incredible performance does come with a hefty $200 price tag, which is pretty steep for a daily trainer. We recommend the Superblast as an ideal choice for runners seeking a cushioned yet stable running shoe for clocking in countless miles, or even heavier individuals in search of a maximal running shoe that's capable of handling all paces, or just anyone looking for a versatile shoe that can cover everything from daily training to long distance running and even racing. The main issue we found with the Superblast isn't really a feature, but more its cost. At $200, it's easily the priciest daily trainer on the market, and we would understand if most runners would opt for a more budget-friendly option. But within the Asics lineup though, the Nova Blast 3 presents very similar features as the Superblast, but at a much more affordable price point. Moreover, this shoe isn't for those who expect a plush feeling out of their midsole. If that describes your preference, we recommend looking into the Hoka Mach X. It also uses a dual foam setup, but provides a much softer ride in a similarly maximal package. Let's begin with the biggest design flaw we found with the Superblast. Because of its $200 price tag, which is frankly crazy for a training shoe, we expected excellent breathability from it, but sadly, that really isn't what we got. In our lab, we performed our state-of-the-art smoke test on the shoe, and unfortunately, we could only give it a run-of-the-mill 3 out of 5 for breathability. This is below average, and to be honest, let us down. During our light test, we can see that the shoe's upper structure is reinforced on the medial side for added stability. This section clearly hinders the shoe's overall breathability. On the other hand, however, we were surprised because the light easily passed through the engineered mesh in the toe box, so we expected better ventilation. Seeking more answers, we turned to our microscope to understand the Superblast's poor airflow, and it turns out to be quite simple. There simply isn't enough space for air to circulate. We really hope that Asics takes our findings to heart and makes improvements on the next version, because this lack of breathability is really the shoe's one big downside. On the flip side though, the reduced airflow can actually be beneficial in colder months, given the shoe's thick padding, particularly around the heel. Even though the shoe is marketed as a daily trainer, it really leans more towards performance. This is especially apparent when we take a look at the shoe's super thin upper, which is similar to what we see in other super trainers like the Adidas Boston 12. We fired up our Dremel and pressed it against the toe box, which really revealed the upper's weakness, leading us to give it a score of 1 out of 5 for toe box durability. The heel area of the shoe is designed with a soft fabric and a generous amount of padding. Typically, in our lab tests, such a combination results in a low score. We confirmed this with our Dremel again, where the damage done to the heel collar earns the shoe a 2 out of 5 for heel collar durability. Though not an impressive rating, we believe it won't cause concern for most runners throughout the shoe's lifespan. Onto the outsole. And the Superblast has quite a substantial area of exposed foam and stone trapping holes, all designed to reduce the overall weight of the shoe. Now, before we fired up our Dremel for the 3rd time, we used our durometer to see how hard the AHR Plus rubber found on the shoe's outsole really is. According to Asics, AHR Plus is made of a rubber that boasts 3 times the abrasion resistance of standard rubber. And we hope this claim holds true because our measurements showed a durometer reading of only 77.1 HC. This indicates that the rubber is on the softer side, likely aiming for better grip. Impressively, it seems that the AHR Plus rubber really does live up to the hype. After conducting the Dremel test and assessing the amount of damage, we found that we had only lopped off 0.6 millimeters of material from the outsole, which is a much better performance than average on this test. Tipping the scale at only 8.6 ounces, we think that Asics nailed it with the Superblast weight. Given its impressive stack height, we would expect it to be more like 10 ounces like the New Balance Fuel Cell Super Comp Trainer. Yet, Asics impressively managed to keep it under 9 ounces, rivaling a lot of racing shoes, all in a training shoe package. The Superblast boasts an absolutely gargantuan heel stack of 42.7 millimeters. This exceeds the 40 millimeter race day legal limit set by World Athletics, making it one of the tallest shoes we've ever tested here in our lab. When we mentioned its impressive lightness relative to its height, we truly meant it. Because of this, the shoe offers an exceptional level of cushioning. In the forefoot, we measured it to be 38.4 millimeters. This is more than most shoes have at their heel. This speaks volumes about the shoe's ultra cushioned design. Asics consistently shines as a brand that gets the heel-to-toe drop spot on. In the RunRepeat lab, we've come to truly value this level of precision, especially when many other running shoe manufacturers tend to miss the mark, leading to confusion and even injuries among runners. The Superblast boasts an official heel-to-toe drop of 8 millimeters, and the difference in our stack measurements leave us with a near-perfect 7.9 millimeters, only 0.1 millimeters off the official figure. We found the Superblast insole to measure 4.2 millimeters thick. This is a little thinner than what we normally find, but skimping on insole is a rather effective way of reducing the shoe's overall weight. Over the past 2 to 3 years, we've tested a lot of shoes in the lab that make use of a very cloud-like foam in combination with a significant stack height to deliver a ride that feels plush and soft. However, the Superblast doesn't fit that mold, with its midsole giving us a durometer reading of 23.4 HA, which is much more balanced. During our test runs, we found the shoe's PEBA-based FF Turbo foam to feel much firmer underfoot, similar to what we find in the Metaspeed Sky Plus. If you're on the hunt for a shoe with a plush ride, this might not be the one. We'd recommend having a look at Nike's Invincible 3 instead. Asics seems to have realized that just using the FF Turbo midsole might be a little too firm for everyday runs. So they integrated a layer of FF Blast Plus just below the firmer FF Turbo. This layer is notably more plush, giving us a durometer reading of 17.1 HA, which greatly enhances comfort for our easy to moderate runs. So in short, the dark blue FF Blast Plus foam makes initial contact with the ground and gives us a nice soft landing, while the light blue FF Turbo provides world-class energy return with every toe off in this dual foam configuration. The shoe's midsole remains remarkably consistent in the cold. After 20 minutes in the freezer, we got a durometer reading of 26 HA. This increase of only 12.8% is a kind of top-notch performance that we would expect from one of the priciest trainers on the market. But wait, how does it manage to still perform so well under chilly conditions? Well, the secret sauce is in its PEBA-based FF Turbo midsole foam, renowned for good performance in cold conditions. Now let's dive into the most captivating aspect of the Superblast. With a stack height north of 40 millimeters, one wouldn't predict stability, but to our great surprise, we found that it feels remarkably stable underfoot. In our upcoming tests, we'll shed light on how Asics achieved this seemingly unattainable feat. Although the shoe lacks a plate, we rated it a 5 out of 5 for torsional rigidity, a score typically reserved for carbon-plated shoes. This is largely due to the substantial amount of the firm FF Turbo foam, and it's clear that Asics designed the shoe with this intention in mind. It's not missing a plate, it just doesn't need one. We found that the heel counter has a little bit more structure than we typically find in daily trainers, but it remains relatively flexible and comfy, earning it a score of 3 out of 5 in our manual assessment. The standout feature that bolsters stability is the impressively broad midsole. Measuring an out-of-this-world 121 millimeters, it ranks among the widest shoes we've tested in our lab so far. It's truly mystifying how Asics managed to maintain a weight under 9 ounces with such a substantial platform. The Superblast also boasts a wider than average heel, measuring 96 millimeters according to our caliper. This is more than enough platform to ensure that heel strikers have steady landings, but this shoe really does shine more for forefoot and midfoot strike. In our stiffness test, it took 29 newtons of force to bend the shoe to 90 degrees. This is a typical result fitting for a do-it-all shoe. We also repeated the stiffness test after leaving the shoe in the freezer for 20 minutes. And with a post-freezer reading of 35 newtons needed to bend the shoe, the Superblast only becomes 19% more stiff. This truly impressive result further highlights the outstanding performance of PEBA foams such as the FF Turbo in cold conditions. While the wide midsole might suggest a roomy toe box, we actually found that quite the contrary is true with the Superblast. Asics cleverly enhances stability by combining a moderately narrow toe box with a super wide base, but the price to pay is less real estate inside the shoe. At its widest point, we measured the toe box to be 97 millimeters wide, which is slightly narrower than average. Moving down to the area around the big toe, we measured it at a very standard 77 millimeters. Since the shoe isn't available in wide sizes, men with broader feet might want to consider sizing up. However, for women, this might not be necessary. This is a unisex shoe, and all standard sizes are a D in width, which equates to a wide size for women anyways. When testing the shoe, the lockdown we achieved in the Superblast once all laced up and ready to go was simply outstanding. And we believe that a significant reason for this is the shoe's semi-gusseted tongue. The gusset itself is comfortably positioned without being too intrusive and ensures that the tongue doesn't slip from side to side even when running at high speeds. While a 6 or 7 millimeter tongue would be fantastic, it's not practical when we're trying to reduce the weight of a shoe as much as possible. The Superblast sports a paper-thin 1.5 millimeter tongue that is reminiscent of most racing shoes. Still, we discovered that even during our longer run, we didn't experience any discomfort around our instep. Additionally, the finger loop on the heel tab is a nice touch. Not only does it look stylish, but it also makes slipping in and out of the shoe much easier. The shoe's insole is also easily removable, which allows for the use of custom orthotics wherever that is necessary. While Asics have added some reflective elements on the details in the heel tab, we feel that they barely meet the mark and don't offer enough visibility for nighttime running. In conclusion, the Superblast is a performance shoe cleverly disguised as a daily trainer with a price point to match. It's a versatile workhorse of a shoe that can go any distance and will be a joy whether you're a beginner or an advanced runner. So that's it for our lab review today. Feel free to leave us any comments down below, especially if you own the shoe. We'd love to know what you think. And look out for our next lab review. Till then, we gotta run.